I am Rob, the founder and proprietor of Lair of OmnusI YouTube channel, here once more for an RPG a Day question. This is, of course, brought on by the RPG Brigade of Facebook, and we do these questions to try to foster a sense of community and sharing and positive feelings towards the role-playing hobby that we enjoy so much. Today, being the 5th day of August, the topic is space. Now, these topics are open-ended. We can do what we want. And my first thought when I think of space and gaming is more is always better. I have a number of bookshelves that are kind of groaning under the weight. That I wish that I had an entire room or an entire wing to dedicate to my hobby. There just simply isn't enough room for everything that I wish I had. That gets compounded when you start having things like miniatures, 3D models, and supplies to support all of that. Space is kind of rough. And if you have a dedicated gaming table, that's going to eat up a chunk of your space too. When one of my players, offered to build me a gaming table, and I said yes, because what we were dealing with before were the 8-foot-long folding tables. All of a sudden now I can't just fold up the tables and clear the space out. Now I'm kind of stuck with this large 5x5 wooden table here. But it's an excellent gaming surface. And he meant very well, and I love the table. But also, space can mean other things. A lot of the role-playing games that I play involve fantasy. However, some go off-planet. Science fiction mostly. Although with Spelljammer there was fantasy games that could go into space too. So I thought I would share with you the two games that I primarily enjoy the most involving space. Now, I play futuristic games that happen in space sometimes, but they don't often engage with space. For instance, my Warhammer 40,000 games, while yes, you could go into space and be in a spaceship, and it didn't often feel like it because you weren't in a spaceship and able to move wherever. You were still going to be inside spaceships oftentimes, and then the story would take place once you landed and got out. And one of the things about the Warhammer 40,000 universe is that individual freedoms and choices aren't real high on the priority list. There's only a couple of select people who get the opportunity to go wherever and whenever they want. So in all the games that I've played, the group was always taking orders, so the feeling of space might not have been as profound. Now, if I want that in a game, generally there's only a few that I have that I turn to. The first one, of course, is the old standby for my group, Star Wars, specifically the West End Games D6 system. It's a system that, to me, it's like, putting on a well-worn pair of shoes. They're comfortable and they immediately mold to fit you, and it's very comfortable and very, very familiar. It's not my very favorite gaming system, but we've told so many great stories with Star Wars that I'll never turn down a game of the Star Wars D6 system. The second edition I thought was the finest one they put out. It was very tight, a lot of really good materials for it. I have a large section of my library with these games. Interestingly enough, these games really weren't mine. They were kind of donated to my library by my best friend, and if he ever wants them back, I will happily give them back to him. But we've used them. They're great books, and so much lore. If you're at all a fan of Star Wars, you would do yourself a tremendous favor by going and checking out the role-playing game, which expands on the universe and collects so much data that your casual person just isn't going to be aware of. If I'm going into hard science fiction, though, without needing the Force or any of that stuff, I would then turn to GURPS Space. GURPS is an excellent, more realistic game system, or as realistic as you want to make it, I guess. And if you are going to anything with hard science, either you're going to go with Star Trek, where it's boof and it's there, science is almost to the level of magic, with teleportation and disintegration weapons and things like that, or somewhere in between today and then. Space just is so broad and so vague a topic. With GURPS, I can customize and tailor to anything that I'd be interested in. Most of which probably centers around, say, Firefly level, or maybe up to like Battlestar Galactica level space. I'd be okay running a game in somewhere in that ballpark. But with this book and a few others in my library, I can make exactly the kind of space adventure I want. Let my players create characters that grow organically as they experience different things in adventure. And just be able to tell a fantastic story out in either the horrors of space or the boundless frontier, depending on if you're feeling optimistic or in the mood for horror. So this is something I'm certainly comfortable with, and of course there's a ton of different games. We've got Traveler and just a lot, but these are the ones that I'm familiar with and have more extensively in my library, and I'm very comfortable with. So I thought I would share that with you. Getting to know a gamer's library tells you something about that person and the kind of games they run, the kind of things they like to do. So that's a little bit more about me that you now know from watching this video. So that's it for that question. I am Rob, at your service as always, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you did, my channel, OmnusI, has a lot of videos you might like, and feel free to subscribe. Certainly wouldn't turn down a new subscriber. Thank you, and hopefully I will see you the next time I crawl in front of the internet for another one of these videos. Thank you, and farewell.